is up, everybody? Welcome to another podcast episode. This is episode 7 of the JC Honeyman podcast. I have a special guest here, talented Michael Brondstetter in the house.
Oh.
What is up?
It is way up, because I am, I'm up out of bed and
It's up out of bed, that's right.
here at the JC Honeyman Studios.
That's right. Living the dream.
No,
So,
I don't
I'm gonna pick your
consider.
brain
I
today,
never. Honestly, it's one of my pig points. Is I never considered it a dream, and even though a lot of people think that's a positive thing, and when you're working hard and you're grinding, believe me, it's not a dream. You're working your ass off. Yeah, so I like to say it's like, attempting to make your hard work pay off, so to speak, and that's not a dream.
Right. That's awesome. So, when did this all start? Like this whole music?
God, don't even
Years
start.
ago? Well, just tell me when.
If there's a video that I have out.
I like to start with the background,
Yeah, of course. No.
It's the best part.
Yes. There's a video I have out. It's called Behind the Mic, and in that I talk. It kind of is edited, so you don't get the true story, but you do hear on the JC Honeyman blog. So,
That's right.
I was in kindergarten, and we were all doing the backing vocals, the songs, the Christmas songs for the show. And the kids were out there performing, and we were doing all the audios in the background, singing. And the teacher would constantly tell people, bring your voices up. So I was singing away, and all of a sudden she picked me up and put me up in front. I'm the tallest guy, so I'm always in the back.
Yeah.
So she picked me up, put me up front, and started singing, and she put a big smile on her face. And basically, I told myself at the time, this is in kindergarten, well, I really like this.
You're gonna keep on doing it.
Kind of so. And
Cool, man.
probably 9 years old, maybe 8, maybe 7, somewhere in there. I was very athletic and into sports and things like that. This is when I was in Detroit, so. I was playing a little hockey, a little baseball, no football, but just that didn't happen until I went to Kentucky. So. And anyway, my point being is that that there's this time when you kind of figure out that hey, this music thing is pretty awesome, and I wanted to learn an instrument, and my dad told me no, this doesn't pay.
Somebody telling you that you can't do it.
Yes.
That sucks, man.
Yeah, well,
especially if you want to do it.
Yeah.
Your passion,
of course.
There's tons of people out there that are trying to tell you not to do it, and it's never gonna work.
The naysayers are always going to be there, the haters, and so on and so forth.
Closest to you sometimes,
Always.
Yeah.
Well, because
It's sad.
because they think, and it's true, and you know it because what you've gone through, and I've gone through, is that it's not an easy thing to do. You have to have, the skin of a rhinoceros or an elephant. It's very thick. You have to let things roll off your back. And you have to keep a positive attitude, which isn't easy. Most people don't. Most people have that negative that's going to fall on my head any second. And, I did that for years. So at this point, I decided that at some point, probably about 2008, I'm going to give this a shot. I don't give a crap what happens and how it works, but I'm going to really, start working on it. And probably 8 years prior to that, I was doing a lot of covers, playing in cover bands. I was with Billy Watson, who's one of the local talents, plays harmonica, amazing person. And an artist too, really good artist.
Okay.
And surfer. Anyway, I was with Billy Watson and some other people in the Bluescasters. And that was kind of my first venture off in the modern, and this element of me, into playing cover music and originals. I really did try to put originals in there. It just was really difficult, no matter what cover band you were with. When people were giving up their time, they wanted to get paid. So to me that was like sacrilege. So I said, well, one of these days I'll start my own, original project. And
you did.
Yeah, after the Bluescasters, because I had to change occupations. I went from aerospace engineering and aerospace assembly, and I was a AP mechanic as well as a airframe mechanic. So airframe and power plant AP mechanic, and so I went from that and retrained and went into the hospital and worked for another 20 years. So it was one of those things that, it just took time and just kind of lost track of it from 95 until probably 2002 is when I started thinking about it, and by 2008 it was starting to become reality.
That's crazy, man. What a story. That's awesome though, like to see you going after it even after all these years, most people would be like, well, it's done and over with now, Here you are, got an album out,
Well,
like 3 singles.
There are so many people in our community,
Awesome.
music community, right,
Yeah.
that know different. They know it's something they can't walk away
Exactly.
from. It's never something that leaves them.
Yeah.
It's like a voice in their head, and it's like you're mad. It really is. There's songs that are going off all those.
You waking up to it.
I tell people, I said, I don't need music on. There's
Yeah.
always a soundtrack in my head.
Exactly.
Always.
I woke up with something in my head the other day, and I actually didn't jot it down. I was like kind of annoyed.
Well, that's what
It won't go away.
that's what cell phones are for.
Yeah, well, and it sounded like another song, and I was like, it's not even worth, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And something sounds like something else, and you're just
But-
like that.
George Harrison, good friend of mine. We were buddies.
Mm.
Not really. But anyway, he once quoted saying,
Grew up together, huh?
record, yes we did, record.
Yeah.
He was a few years old.
That was the only song I've ever not
Not
recorded just because
Well,
it sounded like the Stones, like it was something like the
I will
Stones.
tell
had
you,
done.
I will tell you something else about that. It says, there was a quote, again, I use these quotes a lot to people because I'm going to be starting a blog myself
Nice.
about songwriting.
You should start a podcast.
Well, that's what I'm
Oh,
that podcast/blog.
Cool.
I call them, I think of them the same way, especially nowadays,
Yeah,
because they're
yeah.
pretty much
Same thing.
intertwined.
Yeah,
And
makes sense.
and we're gonna do a lot of stuff that we're gonna post on, because we're showing people certain elements.
Yeah.
And one of the elements that we're gonna be showing them is, no song is wrong.
That's cool.
And the reason why is because you never know. I mean, I was gonna use this quote from John Mayer. He was talking about in some, video, some show he was on. He goes, I'm gonna play this next song, and it was me trying to figure out or play this other guy's song, and you guys gonna think it's his song, and I didn't even know
It
what he
turned
was
into a
talking
different
about.
song.
Because it went through his
Yeah.
filter. Each person has their own filter,
Yeah.
their certain thing. And I used to have this friend that played drums for me. Pat Burke was a local drummer and just a wonderful percussionist and xylophone player. And he used to always criticize me about, that's the same thing over and over again. And then it was Robin Hinkle, another person in our community, that once told me, he says, what Pat doesn't realize is that is, your originality, that is you, that is your filter, that is your,
Exactly.
what your sound is. So you kind of have to balance that, because there comes a time when we sit there and hear all the stuff we're writing and stuff, and it sounds the same.
And then, but once you get in the studio and layer it, add stuff onto it, then it sounds
True.
different. So.
But it's like what you should do with a photograph. When you do a
Yeah.
photograph, you should compose in the lens.
Mhm.
When you do a song, you should compose with a guitar. Because what Tom Petty did, he used the same stupid acoustic guitar.
Oh, same
Stupid,
chords.
but wonderful. But think of how different it
He's
became.
got so many hit songs too. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And because he and Mike Campbell, at some point said, this is our sound.
Mhm.
I remember Michael saying that. He says, I had this telly going, and he goes, that's our sound. That's what I want to, that is what we sound like.
And they just stuck with it and were consistent
Well,
with the
yeah,
sound.
exactly. So, obviously they changed and they grew as musicians and writers and everything else. But there's a certain element, with Tom's voice and a certain element with their play that always grew through it. You hear it for all the bands. They have a style. It's called style.
Mhm.
When you have a style and people like the style, then they're going to
Stick
come
with
back to it.
Yeah,
Why not?
keep it consistent, and consistency is key.
Because you're not going to want to play the same two songs over and
Yeah.
over again the rest of your life, like your big hit.
One hit wonders.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to constantly be looking for other things. He
Yeah.
worked with Jeff Lynne. He worked with, Tom Petty.
Collaboration is huge.
He worked with Jeff Lynne. He worked with Bob Dylan. And this is the Traveling Wilburys.
Wow.
Jeff Lynne, Bob Dylan, and Roy Orbison,
Wow.
plus Tom Petty. Those are the Traveling Wilburys.
That's awesome. I
I mean, you
learned something new today.
well, good. The main thing is go back and check them out and see
Yeah,
how awesome they are. You know, so.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So anyway, my point is that each one of their styles came out, and then you can hear the thread Tom Petty had from you know, I won't say Jeff, but definitely. Oh yeah, we forgot the most important one, which was George Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Traveling Wilburys too.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And so, you know, so you hear certain elements of the influence of the Beatles, George Harrison, certain elements of Bob Dylan and
That's
Tom's
gotta,
music.
that's gotta be awesome.
And even Roy Orbison. You know, he was like the
what was
original
it?
guy.
What was it called again?
Traveling Wilburys.
Wilburys. Traveling Wilburys. I'm not.
I'll text it to
I'm
you.
gonna look that up later. No, I'll remember it. I'll remember. I got a good memory.
Yeah, I know. I sit there listening to you reel off lyrics to songs, and I go, damn, I have to have cheat sheets of 90%
I know,
of these
dude.
things.
That's one thing I got. This good memory and good like. I can
Recall.
memorize it. Yeah, recall, muscle memory. Luckily, but you know, it's like anything else. It gets tough sometimes, you know, doing those covers and going out and the bars and it's fun though.
Well, the hard part to
fun.
me, if you, I mean, I know a lot of people on, see on Instagram and on YouTube and Facebook, people posting stuff that they record from their live performances.
Yeah.
What do you hear more than you hear the guitar and the vocal? The damn crowd in the back. So,
You mean like a live like video?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's why
we-
you gotta get. Well, what I want to get eventually is it's called an iRig. I'm sure you heard of that. You plug everything in. Well, from the Bose, you can go out on the RCA's into a quarter inch, or maybe it's an aux into the. I don't know exactly how it works into the iRig, and it plugs into your lightning cable on your phone, and you can just plug it straight in from the sound out. So then it picks up the sound just from the microphone and the guitar, so it doesn't pick up all the background noise.
yeah, in other words, it's a instead of being an omnidirectional element, it's a unidirectional with short range focus, but you still get some of it in the background, which is not bad.
But luckily these, I think it's called a dynamic mic, right?
Right.
The dynamic don't pick up all the background noise like this one would because it's a condenser. So.
Well, I mean, not all condensers are. It's basically
Some are
Omni,
more
which is
sensitive.
one that's designed to be.
Yeah,
It's a broad ranged input. But the other one is very, you know, focused on right in front of you. So
Right.
that's the dynamic one.
Gotcha.
So.
I gotta get a couple pair of those Shure SM7Bs. You seen those?
No.
Those are nice. They're like they look like kind of like a like one of those, but
Mhm.
they have a bigger head on them. They're cool. You gotta look them up. They
Yeah,
sound really good.
Yeah, I just use the Sennheiser because it's fairly, you know,
Yeah.
close range where I can be like this without having to bury my mouth in it.
Yeah.
And it's fairly.
Sennheiser.
Yeah, I think that's what it's pronounced.
Yeah.
I never.
don't even know.
I never.
There's so many different brands.
But I use the
Sure,
90
Sennheiser.
series, and it's a sensitive but affordable. You know, it's less than $100.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at is 400 now. Yeah. I want two of them, but I'm like, probably just gonna get another.
You didn't ask Santa?
No, he didn't give me anything this year. Just a bottle of whiskey.
Well, I'm guessing he knew what you wanted most.
I couldn't go home for my family, so I'm just like, I'm gonna take a shot, make me feel better. But anyway, so like, probably just end up getting another one of those 58A, Beta 58, and then, cause they sound a little better, I think.
Try the Sennheiser, they're actually better than these.
Is it? It's a performance mic?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll look into it.
I have one, you can try it out.
Alright.
And like I said, it's probably the same price as this one.
Yeah.
So, and I prefer it. I mean, I think it's just a little something better.
I would look into that. Look at the ratings. So you have a EP out, and you got how many singles up? You have one album, one EP album, and then.
Well, my latest EP, my latest single was a cover song of an Elvis.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
Teddy
love
Bear.
that song.
That is,
Really good cover.
and thank you.
You're welcome. I like
It's,
it a lot.
it's something that started out, we met a guy in licensing up in Los Angeles, which we're, you know, really trying to work that market. And he had he was trying to sell, you know, to advertisers, so out of the Elvis collection, for whatever reason, he got rights to it, you know, somebody asked him to do it for him. And one of the songs that he was pushing was Teddy Bear. And so I had an idea in my head, and I got together with Michael Chavez up in Los Angeles, and we put that together. It started out here with um, Dove Linkhorn, which that's Kirk Arnold, who goes by Dove. And we started out here and we worked on it. It just didn't quite have the dynamic I wanted. And he wanted to bring in all this other stuff, and my manager, Eric Klinger, just, said, hey, I know this guy that's really amazing. He toured with John Mayer and part of his band and some of these others, the Michael Chavez. So you check him out. In fact, he's working on an album with, what the hell is his name? The dude from Canada. I'll think of it in a minute.
When it comes back to you, let me know.
Yeah. And so when he's working on his, with his son, they're doing a posthumous release of, that is the right word, isn't it? After his death, release of his next album.
Okay.
And so he's been so busy, but he took the time to help me, polish that up and get it ready.
Nice.
And so, Teddy Bear was a collective work.
You recorded that with Tom? Where'd you record that one?
I recorded that initially up in with Kirk Arnold,
Okay.
Dove, up in
With Dove.
yeah.
Dove Recordings? Like, is that the name of it?
DL Recordings,
Okay.
and
That's
and
cool.
I have no idea what he calls
Up
it
in
now.
Los Angeles?
No, up here in Ramona.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, he's got a little studio in his house now.
Well, it sounded good, the quality was good, I like how,
It got reworked almost 100%.
I like how soft to the ears it sounds, it's got really,
It got almost 100% reworked when it went up
Yeah.
to when Michael Chavez got a hold of it, because he was doing
and you
guitar
sped,
work.
originally it's like really slow, right? I hadn't even heard the original
Yeah.
song.
Oh no, yeah. I
The
mean, it's
original one's
the
super
original
slow.
one is a minute 57.
So it's
50
shorter and slower.
Oh god.
Yeah.
No, not slower.
Oh, just shorter. Okay, so you did the same tempo?
No, quite a bit slower. I slowed it down.
You slowed it down, that's right.
I slowed it down.
So he sped it up and you slowed it down.
Yeah, because to me it's.
But it's like a 2 minute, you made it like 2.5 minutes, right?
No, mine's 3 minutes.
Okay, 3.
Or just
That's
under
good.
3.
That's good.
Yeah, so it was about a minute longer than the original.
Perfect amount.
But the original one was from the 50s and stuff. I mean, that's what people wanted to hear.
Yeah, quick, fast and easy, right?
Yeah, it was the rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of, that 57
Yeah.
was when rock and roll was really moving, and that's I just wanna be your teddy bear.
The last song I did was,
and that's 1 minute 57 seconds.
right, the last song I did, was, I think it was 2:30, something like that. It's like super short. So I was trying to do that, was trying to take it back to the old days, like, hey, make it real short, sweet.
Yeah.
That's what I did, so.
I mean, there's one of the things that I think it's, I can't think of his name. Pinback. You know those guys, right? Check them out. They're local.
I'll look into it.
And they're fairly, they got a lot of stuff. And I can't think of his first name, but Black's his last name. And he goes out of his way to make his song shorter. He says, cutting them down. And what works for that is that you can put so much more into it. I mean,
Yeah.
my favorite thing to tell everybody about is, look at John from the CCR,
John
Fogerty.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at John Fogerty. He put more into 2.5 minutes, or 2 minutes, or a 2
Yeah.
or 3 minute song than anybody you'll ever know.
Just rack it up.
And it sounds like, oh my God, that's only 2 minutes and 12 seconds long,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot in it. So seems like a long song.
Man, imagine how they had to record back in the day.
Well, I know how.
It's crazy though to think about what we have now versus
Well, a lot of that
back
comes
in
from
the day. They
Beatles.
had to dub it and all that. They had to.
Well, they didn't even have dubbing.
They did,
It all had to be. The Beatles had to record live.
Right.
They had eventually they had one additional channel they could overdub.
Well, eventually they got into dubbing. But,
Yeah, but they did it.
But before
It was them that created that.
they did,
Yeah.
the Beatles.
Yes, because they would take recording, then recording, then recording. You literally were recording and melding those and having one track going in while the other one's recording.
That would have been cool.
When they had 2 tracks, basically, is what it
Yeah.
amounts to. Because you gotta remember that a lot of the early Stones and
You
Beatles
just set
stuff
up with a mic in the middle.
was monaural.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the whole process was. Then they had, you know, stereo, which came out to be, they had an additional track where they could do overdub on,
Uh-huh.
where you could, you know, come back after it was recorded. And so, you know, if you look at their 1967, okay, 1967, they were literally putting all this stuff together, these sounds and stuff, and looping it on tape so it could go in
Right.
to a channel. So they would, you know, it was like